Good morning all. Today we will see the live migration in Zen architecture. So the first representation is what is a Zen using? Zen is using a live migration processor. In this live migration procedure, what is the difference between the other migrations and the migrations what we are using Zen is? It is using some compressor type algorithms to take these things to be happen easily. Means whenever you are starting the migration, what we need to do, we need to transfer the memory spaces, and then next all over the things what we are using from one space to one machine to the another machine, that is one host to the another host. So for this what it is doing, it is using a mechanism called remote direct memory access, and along with the that is an compression algorithm which is the specified as CBC compression what we are choosing here. So this is the source node and it is the target node. Here in this domain node, what a problem has been occurred. What it has to do is here is it has to migrate this total execution to this machine. So this target node. For this, we are using a migration daemon. So the what this daemon does here is it means dynamically it generates or dynamically it wants to find that is what kind of the regularities or the what kind of the things has to be migrated to this target node. Simply you are migrating this to this target node, it's not an easy one, because you have to map these the mappings, and then next the things what you are executing, the shadow page table, all these things has to be migrated to this environment. So for this what it is doing is it is using a migration daemon to take the migration into the consideration. So here the migration daemon what we are using will manage the virtual machines what we are using, and they are also responsible for the migration. Means it won't be no longer keep these things to be burden on the hypervisor or any host system or the target system what we are using. So here we need to design an algorithm or design a program, daemon program, to take care of the migration. So here the migration whatever will be taken will be done by the migration daemon what we are using. So along with this one, we are having the page tables also. There is a shadow page tables also. So whatever we are using in this VMM layer, there is a page tables has to trace the modifications which has to be done by the done to the memory pages what we are migrating. So here if you are providing any phasing technique, that is a copying technique, here we are using the pre-copying technique. So the pre-copying technique means first it will take the important memory spaces to be copied first, and along with that one in next rounds it will take the dirty pages to be available. So here for that one, so first it will have to see in this pre-copy phase what the modifications has to done to the memory page has to be done, has to be looked after by these daemon also. So it is also providing some corresponding flags so to map with these dirty bitmap, and also it is providing that is any pre-copy has been started, means at the start of this one what it has to do is nothing but the bitmap has to send these thing, that is you want to start the migration has to be sent to the this daemon. Whenever it receives a bitmap indication from this one, the migration daemon will start the migration. So how we are going to start here is first it has to clear the shadow page table. How it will clear this means the images or the files what you are having in this shadow page table, the data what you are having in this that is table has to be copied into the another one, and what you have to do is nothing but we have to recreate a shadow page table in this environment. So whenever the migration has been done, completely done by the migration daemon, it will create the shadow page table in this environment for this virtual memory transmission, and it will look after the another any other recreations or there any other processings are there in next rounds. So likewise what it is doing is it is taking the things to be happen. So the whole things what you are using will be done by the compression what you are using. So not only we are copying the caches, and also we are copying the context switches, and also the CPU interactions and any means network based one, all these things we have to be considered whenever you are copying in this one. So in previous examples we didn't mention any algorithm to take care of that one, just we theoretically have seen 5 different steps are involved in that one. So what are the 5 steps? Means start migration, and then it's before migrating, what you have to do, we have to take the pre-migration. In that pre-migration, we will look after the what are the things to be handled by these so the resource host, and this host has to be transferred to these target host. So whatever the things will be done by the hypervisor directors. What the hypervisor is doing is it is maintaining a daemon program which is being looked after by a CBC compression. So the CBC compression is an algorithm. By using this algorithm, what we are doing is it is a single compression algorithm in which we are taking all the memory data to achieve the win status, because when you are migrating from this from here to here, the win status is very low because you need to copy all the things from here to here. Not all the systems will support like this. So to achieve the win status, what you have to do is nothing but we should look after a algorithm to take care of these things to be migrated in a successful manner. So after that how that is virtual clusters are there. So in the previous session, and that as I described what is a virtual cluster, why we are using the virtual clusters like that. So here we are having the 4 different types of virtual clusters here. How they are working will be means in a manner will be explained here. So I'm taking 2 different examples which are means 2 different projects which are being used by Duke University and the Purdue University. So which are means using 2 different projects to execute these things on multiple virtual clusters environment here. The first one is the cluster on demand project, which is designed by which is developed by the Duke University. So cluster on demand is simply called as a COD. So this project, what it is doing, it is completely a virtual cluster management system, which is used for the dynamic allocation of the servers from a computing pool of the multiple virtual clusters. So here we need to take the dynamic things into, means dynamically we will allocate these servers to means get on into your programming and also allow the things to be done. And these COD, how it is going to process here is it will take the physical clusters into an account, and it will divide these physical clusters into multiple virtual clusters, where itself it is forming the cluster name, it is V clusters. So here the V clusters will be like this. So if you see this diagram, this is the architecture of the partitioning a physical cluster into the multiple virtual clusters here. So in this diagram, we are seeing that there are the physical clusters representing on the top of the left side, which is having the some burgundy and the green color representations. So what these 2 colors are representing is the first color, burgundy color, is the batch pool. So which is having the resources as a pool here, and then the green color representations are taking web services. So it is making available of the web services to be handled here, and also maintaining some configuration bases here. In this configuration base, we are having a resource manager to look after the resources what we are having, and it is maintaining a database, and also it is taking the web interface to means it is providing the web services, means it need to take the web interface into an account, and also it is providing a protocol, dynamic host configuration protocol, to means communicate other to process this one, and the confidentiality is maintained, and also it is taking into an account that is the information security is also considered. After that, my DNS, that is what are the domain name system, what are the domain name server you are using. And next we are having the image upload. What is the image upload here is we are maintaining the different types of the systems here. So what the system is including will be indicated by the single system image only. So that's why we are using a image upload here. So what this will handle here is it will take care of the resource policies and give the template definitions, means what are the system connected to your cluster, and what it is defining will be given by the templates what you are using there, and also takes the vCluster request and process it, and it will be given to that and it is also maintaining a ACPI that is which is for the cluster, sorry, not the cluster, it is a power management has to be done. So that's why it is maintaining the ACPA to get over rid of that thing. So how it is going to perform, or how it's going to do here is these COD will partition a physical cluster, and then next what this done means how it is going to do here is that the dynamic virtual clusters what you are using will enable the abstraction what you are using for advanced resource management in computing utilities, you may consider these utilities can be that as the grids here. So what this system supports here is dynamic allocation of the systems, and also giving the cluster sharing between the local users and the host grid services, and also provides a resource reservation, adaptive provisioning, and then next any ideal resources is there, it will find out the ideal resources and it will stop the reserve the, means if the energy what it is using will be stopped, that is it has to give that they are not working, means they could be ideal, like that has to be specified. And also provides any configuration database is there, has to be provided in that cell. So this command is sorry, this COD is used for providing a computing pool, and also it is providing a energy manager reserve pool energy. How it is taking means taking these things to happen is it will find out what are the means systems or in idle, and it will take them to the sleep mode. And then what happens here is we are making them to not available for a particular amount of the time. Means for example, if you are taking different environments which are using the clusters, not all the environments will take the nodes to be computed. Means some in some environments or some peoples will finish their works early. Means if they are finishing their works early, means the systems what they are having means allocated will stay idle only. When they are staying like that, what they are, when they are keep like idle, what you have to do, you have to look after whether these nodes are using the energy spaces or not, or the energy things or not, we need to take. So if you see the example here, so this is the means by developing that system, they have taken three different environments into an account. One is the system environment, in another one is the architecture environment, another one is the biogeometry environment. So these are the number of the nodes you have been taking, that is 80 nodes. Means for a cluster, how many nodes you are using here is the 80 nodes. 80 nodes means 80 different systems, or the 80 systems which are having the behavior same or different, you will specify. So at the day one here we see, so the biogeometry is using more than 20 systems on day one, and gradually when you are reaching to this day 2, it has been using 21 only, but it has been taken the peak as the 35. Means when you are processing with these biogeometry systems, they are using their nodes high and low based on the conditions. When you come to the mid of the day, it is using less than 10 systems to process that one. Means what the remaining systems are doing is they are simply keeping idle, and they are not using any resources here. So what this graph represents means when you are using multiple structures or the multiple systems in your cluster environment, one environment will use the systems highly, and one environment you will not use the systems highly. So if you see this diagram, it is having the usage of more than 60 systems, that is 60 systems means systematic in the computing. But when you are reaching at the middle of the day, it is using only 9 systems, or the less than 5 systems for computing. So we can't say that the overall computation will use 65 systems here. Means what is the maximum here? We can represent as a 65. So if it is using 65 systems as a maximum, we can't say throughout the 8 days it is using that number of the nodes only to process the data. Means at the first day, what it is using, it is using only 2 system to process that data. And at the third day, and means when it is reaching the third day, it came to means the peak has been reached to 65 systems there. Means based on the time what you are using, it will take the nodes to be into action. If it is not needing any nodes to be taken, what it is doing, it is leaving there itself. Means we need to know whether your system is needing the nodes for the processing or not. So here we are allocating these nodes dynamically. If you are giving what is the static number here is the systems what you are using here by this one is a 65. You are blindly allocating 65 nodes statically to that processing. What you are having here, what it is having here is it is wasting the energy, and it is also taking the memory spaces, and it is also making the resources which are not to be available for the others. So if you are making like this, what it happen, the static configuration or the static one will make you the traffic analysis what you are taking will be high, and then resources what you are providing will not be available with the others. So likewise, what we need to do, we need to take into account that. So what we have to do here is the systems what you are using has to be allocated dynamically. So how I am going to allocate the dynamically means, see this diagram. So here we have the physical clusters, and we need to maintain the pool of the virtual clusters here, and also pool of the service clusters what we are having, which is the web one. So whenever a system is needing these clusters, virtual clusters or the nodes, what it is doing is it's simply allocating those resources to them. So Andy, if it is completed, means whenever you are completing your work, what you have to do is nothing but you have to release these clusters there. So here you are by the mid of this day one, you are gradually using 5 systems or the less than 5 systems only. So when you are reaching the mid of the day, you have been there is an increase in the peak of that one. You have been reached the less than 10. So after that, if you see this diagram, in this at this peak level, it has been decreased the usage of that one when you are compared with the previous one. So how it is done and how it is performing is this cluster on demand. Cluster on demand means on your means when you are needing or when you are processing only, what it is doing, it is allocating the clusters to be processes here. So when you go with these that is architecture or biogeometry, the biogeometry is continuously using many systems, more than means up to 70 systems will be used, that is rapidly or the frequently. So if you are allocating 70 systems to the system before, that is statically, it is what you are doing is nothing but you are wasting the energy and then next resources what you are choosing, because at this end of this day 5, it has been using only less than 10 systems for processing the data. Means we can't say that every time we have the same workload. The workload will be deviated or the workload will be changed by the means what you are having work. Means whenever you are having a task, the task will decide what is the workload to be handled by you. So that's why what you have to do, what they created a dynamic environment, and they has been applied to this 3 environments here, because they need to know whether the work what they have been processed is the correct one or not. Means yeah, they have been proposing that why dynamically we need to give the clusters into an account. Why we need to give the dynamic allocation? Because all the time the systems what you are, the environments what you are choosing will not be the same here. Means the number of nodes what you are using, it's not the same environment when you are dealing with the different environments at the different times. So this is the means theory, or this is the example what you have taken for the 8 days. When you are compared with the other one also, what it is doing, it is taking more than also here to process. So that's about your cluster on demand. What is a cluster on demand means? Whenever you need the servers, what it is doing, it will try to allocate the servers by using the virtual pool, that is a batch pool you are having. If it is not needed, what it is doing is it is allocating these things to the others. So that's why this project is supporting the dynamic clusters here. After that, this one means these are the clusters what we are using, what the things are represented here. So here the next project is the violin project. So this violin project is applied or is specified for the live migration. So this virtual migration you have been seen. So what is the migration here specified is, whenever you are facing a problem, means whenever you are not able to execute this work what he has given to you, what you have to do is nothing but you need to migrate this environment to the another host or the another target node. So for this by taking this thing as a notion, what they done, that is a Purdue University, what they done is they applied a they developed a project which is applying the live migration. What it is doing is it is taking the virtual clusters into an account, and it is taking the virtual cluster environment to be happen. So here, this is the violin project here. So this in this project, we are having the 2 environments, without adaptation and with adaptation. And it is also giving in this 2 environments, we are taking two domains to be existing, domain 1 and the domain 2. So what it is performing here is, we are creating an environment to take these, means migration to be happen. How these migrations to be happen and why we are considering all these things here is, so see, at the right top we are having 5 different notions. So here violin 1 2 3 4 are represented. So here we are taking into a virtual, these also isolated virtual environments will be taken into account. So these violins 1 to 5 are taking 2 physical clusters to be processed. What are the physical clusters? Here is the domain 1 and domain 2. And the squares what we are using, various shadings are done here is, they has been deployed to the physical server nodes, like that it is representing. And what is the execution environment? What we are taking here is, we are providing a 6 node environment and a 4 node environment. 6 node environment in node domain 1 and the 4 node environment in domain 2. So here what is an adaptation? So the adaptation is it is a transparency we need to maintain between these both users virtual environment and the infrastructures of the administrator. So when you are taking the adaptation into an account, if there is need of the migration, it will support to migrate into another environment here, and also provides to execute them into that one. So if it is adaptation has been done, it will take some little seconds, microseconds or the milliseconds to adopt into the from domain 1 to the domain 2. And also there is any possibility of executing these things, it will be done easily. So see here we are having 5 environments. First I am choosing the project name is violin only ma. So the violin is represented as, it is taking the virtual cluster environment into an account, like that it is named. So first I am taking 1 2 3 are computing. So here violin 1 is represented as a complete shaded one, and then violin 2 is represented as the straight lines, and then the violin 3 is represented as a slightly shaded one. So here we are taking into an account that violin 1 and then next violin 3 are being using same environment here. After that, the domain 2 what you are using here is, it is having the 4 environment. So these two are overlap. The first thing is these two are overlap. We will look after the execution of these things afterwards. So first see here domain 2, we are having different nodes here, and it is having the different nodes to be processed. So here adaptation is no need to adopt this one, because each and every node has been attached or has been added to the same node structure only. It is having 4 nodes and it is having the cluster is having the 4 node representation. They are simply adapted. So there is no need to outsourcingly you have to apply the adaptation to that thing. It will simply execute that one. So after next step, what it is doing is, it is trying to execute the nodes, what the information what it is having in this node. So it has been executed and it is left there. So violin 2, these the systems what you are using, the violin 2 has been finished its execution. Okay, so first I will explain without adaptation. Okay, so here without adaptation means, here we are allowing the system to these 4 blocks has to take care of these system violin 1 and then violin 3. So there is no possibility of execution 2 systems on the single nodes here. So that's why what they are doing is, from the until end of your time, they are just been waiting only. Okay, see this one, they are just been waiting only. Next, coming to the next one. So after that one, violin 4 and 5 are came into existence, they have to execute that one. So after that one, what this violin 4 and 5 are giving here is, sorry. So violin 4 and 5 is, they are occupied this thing. So what they have done is, they are means they have been waited for a long time. They has been also waited for a long time. So what here happening is, they are not executing, because the node is not capable of executing 2 multiple systems or the multiple violins at a time. That's why we need to take the adaptation into that one. Adaptation means we need to migrate into the another environment. So here with adaptation, how we are going to execute means, we will take into this account. First, we will see whether this is executing or not. So this environment is stopping executing. So here it is not executing means we don't take another thing to be executed here. We won't allow another ones to execute because already you are having multiple systems to execute. So that's why what it is doing is it is allocating a space to the this one. So here we need to think for which one we need to allocate the adaptation. First, we need to take these how many clusters, how many nodes are is having the violins what you are having. So the violin 1 is having 4 nodes and the violin 3 is having 6 nodes. So the 6 nodes will be used by this domain 1, 2 nodes will be used by the domain 2. So that's why what it is taken, it will has to keep these things into here only, and it takes the domain violin to 1 to this domain 2, and it starts execution. So after that it is starting execution. Meanwhile, what it is happening, it is taking 4 5 into an account. So it is started execution. This what this one 4 and 5 will be remain waiting state only, will be remain in the waiting state. Whenever it is finished execution, these nodes or these violin 4 and 5 will make sure of executing this one. So if you are considering these things, the 6 nodes has been executed, and then next what it is doing is it is allowing the 4th node to be executed. So fourth violin is having 4 nodes and it is having empty 2 nodes here. It started execution these things, and also 5th node what you are using violin is also started executing. So if you are not migrating this environment here, there itself it is stopping the execution here. So if it is also allowing the adaptation, for example, whenever you are executing into this one, what it is doing, it is allowing to adapt to the another environment. So you are giving the chance to execute into another environment and making the possibility of the getting the results there. So, and also you are making these things to be wait for a some time because the processing is also going on, and until you are having the finished here. So when you come to this one, not all these things, only the violin 2 will finish its processing, because violin 1, 3 and the next 4, 5 will wait for until, because there is no chance of executing all these things into an account. So that's why what you are doing is here it is processing of things to be done in such a manner that it should be done, it should be processed in adaptation mode. That is, we need to take that is migration into an account, because not all the time you are making execution to be possible here. So what are the different 4 such nodes are there? So we are taking we have discussed cluster on demand, and the next violent redo here. So what it is doing, is it is execution, it is reducing the execution time. Why? Because it is running these systems with the adaptation mode and is allowing the parallel execution also. Not even to wait for the another thing to wait or to process here. So along with this, when you have the another two cellular disco, which has been developed by the Stanford University. So here what we are doing is we are making this virtual cluster to be available on the shared memory in multiprocessor environment. So here, and also we have the Graal project. What it is doing is it is taking the parallel algorithms which are used for making the performance to be high when you are taking the virtual clusters in the exam. That is a Linux enabled one. So when you are using this type of one, the 75% of the maximum process is achieved, and the resource what you are doing has been stacked to the 30% over the virtual clusters what you are using. So that's about your virtual clusters or the things what you are using here. So, and it is also providing an environment to take that we need the virtual clusters, or we need to process the things what you are having in this environment. Later we will see the server consolidation, and then the virtualization of the data center automation. So in this section, we will see why we need to consolidate our data, and then next what are the parallel processings we use, and we will see several examples also to process here. So we will say a cloud architecture, which is the vSphere 4, and also how we are going to take these trust management into an account will be considered in this virtualization. First, we will see what these are the topics: server consolidation, virtual storage management, how it is maintaining, what is the data centers we are using, and what is our cloud operating system using for these data centers, and at last we are seeing further trust management in this one. So first we need to know what is a data center. So here we need to maintain a means what are the database it is using. The database what you are providing is the server, is having a database. So it is providing the things to be available for the clients which are connected to the server. Likewise, we need to maintain a data center for organizations. So the data center is not for only a one organization, not only a for one sector here. So it is providing the to be available for many companies or many organizations or many environments if you are choosing. So why we need to maintain a data center means to store your large amount of the data, and to access this amount of the data from anywhere, means we need to take this data, we need to carry this data with you. So there is no need to carry this data with you whenever you need this data. So what it is allowing, it is allowing the users, that is end users, that is organization, to store their data onto the data centers which has been developed by the Google or many data centers are there. So how it is going to possible, or how it is going to make here is, it is providing a concept called high availability. So what is taking high availability into an account means, whenever you are using your system, whenever you are using your computing of your data, this data centers make the availability of the data 24/7. And also it provides the balancing of the workloads and also the backup services what you are providing. So these are the things it is considering. So these are the factors it is using, that is the usage of these, why we use data centers, or the why we need to consider data centers to be available. So here another one is mobility. Mobility means mobility, it's a mobile, we can have your data at any place. So there is no any restriction to can't access your data there itself, because you are having your data center, you have stored your data onto the data center. And then maintenance time, there is no need to maintain, because you need to maintain the data means you need a database server. So database server means you need to maintain the energy consumption will be there, you need to cool down the servers, and you have to means to take care of that one, you need to take the administrator into of an account. So all these things will be came into an account. And who will take care of all these things means, the virtual clients will be there, they will take care of all these things what you are having. So coming to one, what is a consolidation? So the consolidation means one, simply this one. Simply we are going to say the consolidate means, many work will be performed individually. Means what you are taking into your account is the individual works what you are performing by the different people will be done by a single server. Means how it is going to perform means, the server must be capable of doing this thing. How it is come to, they have to design like that, the architectures to be designed like. So the work what you are done, what you are presented will be consolidated into a one format. So you have to take the annual report like that, that it is representing. So here we are having 6 different servers. The 6 different servers, in that the 4 are doing same work. So the 2 are taking care of the files and the printing services what it is giving. And then the remaining 2 will be taking care of the sharing of the resources what you are having. And the 5th one is taking care of the applications what you are choosing to process. And last one is the domain controller. What are the domains you are having? And then next, what are the resources we need to allocate, and who is having its file, what are the privileges it is having, like this. So all these things will come into an account. So what the work means, these servers are individually doing, what it has to do is nothing but they should be maintained by a single server. So the simple process what you are giving is specified as a consolidation of this workload servers here. So that is a simple example here. So when you are enhancing this thing, means when you are going to these server virtualization or any means consolidation, why we need this consolidation means, the work will be there, we are using different servers, and it is means happy for processing here. Why we need to consolidate all these works means, you are using some underutilized servers also. Underutilized servers means you are maintaining 2 different servers for same purpose, file and print and then SharePoint. So we can't say that these 2 servers are busy at all the time. All the time, we can't say that. So when you means install these 2 servers, you have the requirement that 2 servers are to be maintained for sharing and then file allocation or the printing, all these things. So we need to came to know that after some time, means after 1 year, after 6 months, you need to know that whether these servers are having that much of work when I decided to install or not. Means whenever you install, they are having that much work. Is after some amount of the time, that is you can take 6 months or the 1 year, they are that much pretty much busy or not, you need to think that. So if they are not busy, what it is doing, it is coming into the account that underutilized. They are not utilizing. They are coming to account that underutilized has to be done there. So that's why any utilization which has been come under the underutilized, what you have to do is nothing but we need to take into account that they are not working, and we will remove this server. We will remove this server for a particular amount of the time. And whenever you are when you are needing that one, you have to install. Means removing installation, removing, reinstalling, installations will be done regularly. And also same coming to this one, SharePoint, and then next to this one. So if the sharing is not done regularly or the frequently, you know, need to maintain 2 servers there. So that will also come under the underutilized one. So what it is doing, it is also wasting the time, the survey, that is energy, and also you are maintaining some administrators to look after that SharePoint server. So what it is also wasting all these things. So for that one, what you will do, again you will reinstall, install, reinstall, install these servers when you are reading. So if you are that is taking into an account, you are wasting so much time for installations and reinstallations, all these things. So for that, what you have to do is nothing but we need to take the consolidation into an account. After that, what this approach will do here is, so we are taking the guest operating systems into an account. So the guest operating systems what you are using will be, means the applications what you are using will be cloned here. Means there is no need to install the guest operating system applications into your environment. Cloning will help you. So the cloning will help you to take care of that one, and it enables to you use the application without installing all these things. And again, the third point what it is providing here is the ownership, that is the cost. The cost means no need to install all these things here. What you are doing, we are taking consolidating workload server, and you are virtualizing that one also. So that's why there is no need to maintain all these things. So there is no option that high availability is not there, or the continuation is not there. Means whenever your system is having that one, it is taking the into an account. So what this thing, the server consolidation will provide here is monitoring, hypervisor types will be there, consolidation triggering will be there, profile enabled, and then next data center scale will be there, SLA awareness is there. And why we are using this server consolidation here is, these are the reasons. So the resource will be utilized very cleanly, because it provides many resources here. The power will be managed by another one, resource affinity is there, communication cost, and then next system maintenance. All these things will be reduced when you are not installing all these things into your own environment. And coming to another one, they are having some heterogeneous workloads. What are these heterogeneous workloads when you are taking? So the workloads will be divided into the 2 types, interactive workloads, and then next second one here is the non-interactive workloads. So first, what you have to do is nothing but we need to take interactive workloads. Means whenever when you are considering workload, when it reaches peak means the high point of usage has to be considered. So how we are going to take this into consideration means the web video service here. What is the web video service here is, nowadays we are using, now only we are using this Zoom, or any video calls, or any other chatting apps regularly. But previously we didn't use all these things. So that means what it is, the usage of this workload or this thing is high when compared with the previous one. So if you are taking 6 months span, it has been increased. But if you are taking 1 year span, in the below 6 months, that is efficient, that is before March, it has not been used regularly, because we don't know that is Zoom is there, and Zoom can be used like this. We don't know all these things. So, and also we are not using some video charts or anything. All these things are not done, because we are regularly meeting people and next having chat with them, so they are not needed. But when considering to the whole day processing here, only some amount of time, at a particular amount of the time only, one service will be active and highly usaged, and during the day what it is doing is it is not used. Means if it is considered as a normal day, when it is being considered, we are taking example as a video service. So yeah, at the night what the people are using this service frequently, means lots of people are using. Whenever you are using, then you will face a network problem, then you will face a loading problem, like that, because lots of people are using and there is a pressurize on which one, that is on the network connection, because all were using this network connection here to one. So if many people are connected to the one Wi-Fi or anything, the process what it is been degraded. So the interactive workload here, the chatty workload here is, it will be depends upon the time. Means it not is depends upon the workload here. It is not completely depends upon the workload. It will completely depends upon the mindset of the people who are using. The people want to use it the time. The time will decide the workload, means if it has been high or not. So whenever it is in the peak state, what it is doing, it is a highly usage at a particular time, and some other time what it is doing, it is became the completely silent. Why so? Why it is silent means because you are not able to use that one. So now here you are listening to the class, and okay, you are not able to take the video call because it is your thing what you are choosing will be used by this thing, that is a Zoom app. So that is not allowable one. Non-interactive workload means, so what it is doing, it is providing the things at the normal levels only. So here what you have to do is nothing but there is no need to require many users to involve this thing. So if you are considering video service here, the video service, the usage of the video service will be decided by the number of the peoples who are using. But when you are using non-interactive workloads, they don't require any users here. So what you have to do is nothing but they have been maintained by the performance here. So after the means whenever you are taking whole process into an account, what is the performance of that one? Means if they won't be decided by the people what you are choosing. So but the interactive one what they are doing, they will be decided by the people, because the people has to use that application or the services there, and it won't be bothered by like that one. So like this, in this we have the approaches. What are the approaches we are taking here into an account is hardware space, and then next how did we make into means appearance here is the server consolidation is used for these hardware resources to be available, and also maintain these data resources what you are having resource managements to be available here, and also any underutilized or any things will be there now, it will be removed by these data centers what you are processing. So what are the techniques we are using here is the centralized and the physical consolidation. The centralized consolidation here is we are maintaining the branches, or we are maintaining this thing at a one point only. This is the centralized one. What it is doing here is it will be take care of the Azure virtual, that is virtual machines what you are using, and it will be looked after by the branch officers. Means these branch office users, there is no need to maintain these things here. So what they are doing is they need to connect to this Microsoft Azure environment, and they have to take care these things into an account. So here, and also we are having the another one, physical consolidation. So this physical consolidation here is the organization what you are taking has to be workload. The workload what you are taking will be merged into the fear services. So here in this example, we can take the print and the file will to one environment, and then next configuration manager and then read-only domain controller can be taken into one environment, and this vendors apply services will be taken into one environment. Means we are reducing the servers count in physical one. When you are dealing with the centralized server one, we are not maintaining the all these things separately. SEMA, these are not presented. These are being migrated into this environment, and this is not presented here. This one is not presented here. So if you want to access any of the services, the branch officer what he has to do, they has to connect to this cloud environment. They have to get the data of these servers what you are having in this environment. When you are dealing with the physical one, what it is doing, it is combining the servers. Why we need to combine the servers means to not to maintain the multiple servers to take care of all these things. What it is doing is it is maintaining multiple a single server for multiple works. And also we are having the second one, that is a virtualization based consolidation server or the server consolidation. Here we need to take this thing into a, that one thing will be means controlled by a single object. That is the example. So here you are taking a universal remote as an example. This remote will be able to access these devices, and this can be means not only access, it will manipulate or it will alter them also. Means any changes given to your any AC or any means your settings changes, all these things will be done by the here what you are using in this home theater or anything. Any universal remote can have a capability to handle many things what you are having at your home. Likewise, we are maintaining a smart file, that is a file hub, as a universal remote. What it is capable of? It is capable of the file storage. So what it is doing, it is the capable of storing the files. It is also capable of maintaining the SAN, and also capable of the NAS also, FTP servers, and also SAS integration. So all these things are there now. All these things will be simply done by these smart file hub what you are using. Okay, so here we are not maintaining multiple things to be happen. We are taking single thing into coming to an account. So we are by using this file hub, we are virtualizing these environments, and it is allowed to take the things to be happen or to be available to you whenever you are needed. And there is no need to include, or there is no need to install all these things into a means different one. So what are the factors here affecting, or what are the factors we need to consider when you are dealing with this virtualization of these data centers? Means we need to consider what are the schedulings of your resources. Means one want to here, I want to access the SAN. I want to access the SAN means many people can access the SAN thing, because it is only a server, it is only a that is a device, that is a which is storing data on a network. So if you want to access a Dropbox or means first we need to see the resources what you are chosen will be scheduled or not. The resource scheduling has to be done. What is the power management, the performance analysis what you are doing. These are the things we need to consider. So and also we need to take the, if the scheduling has been done, the resource has been allocated, we need to consider the reallocation into an account, because I have taken the privilege of accessing one device. So what I have to do after usage of that one, I need to means free that device. The device what you have been freed by has to be reallocated to the another one. So it has to take these reallocation into the different levels. So how you can done this reallocation? Means we can reallocate at the VM level, and then next server level, and the data center level. So what this has been specified here is, so whenever you are dealing with these three, only one is means one level of the reallocation will be done. Sometimes it allows the two levels. So the two levels means at the VM level, server level, or the server level, data center level. All these things has to be considered when you are dealing with the factors. And also we have to think about these the methods what you are using for the flowing, that is automatic resources or overhead, because the workloads what you are choosing has been means differ. The nodes you are having 10 only, and you want to node many nodes to be deployed into your environments. We need to take care of the resources what you are having, and they are allocated or not. You need to take care of all these things. So another one here is we need to take the resource managements here. So means we have the resources. The resources has been allocated to someone. So if anybody wants the completely continuously means requesting for that resource, they need to manage the means another resources, another the type of the resources to allocate them, and then to take the privilege of accessing all these things. So and also we need to maintain a local controller at this VM level and the global control also. So after that we are having the virtual storage management. So here the virtual storage management, why we need to take this virtual storage management into an account is, when an application is running, means what you have to do is nothing but it needs to store the data of the threads and any other addresses onto your physical RAM. So it is not possible to store that one, because when you are running, when you are means working on a big application, which is a huge application, you need multiple data to be stored on that one. So the type of the store the data is not be means helpful when you are using the physical address in your RAM. So what it has to do is nothing but this has to be done by the virtual memory organization. So whatever the data you has been given or has been stored here will be handled by these memory management unit, and it will be take these things into an account, means to and fro will be done here. So after that we are taking the disk storage to store the data into your spaces. So what these things do here is, whatever the data we are processing, whatever the things we are processing need to be stored. So the storage will must be supported by the physical addresses what you are, means physical devices what you are choosing. So to overcome this thing what you are having, we need to look after a disk storage which has been shared or which has been taken into an account. So that's why we are using a storage virtualization into an account. So what it is doing, how it is providing here is, it is taking into an account that, so we need to partition the device, or we need to take the time scales into an account that at this time this device this partition will be used by some time, or the environment what you are taking will be divided based on the guest operating systems or the hypervisors we are using. Means we have to divide the categories of that storage also. To store the virtual machine images we need to give the one space, and to store the application data we need to give the another space. Because whenever we are dealing with the virtual machine, we need to consider the virtual images or the present one, what is the important one also. Not only the application data, when whatever you are getting when running with these applications, not only that one, to maintain the templates also we need to give the space. That's why the environment what you are chosen has to include the images also, which is indicating the virtual machines what you are using along with the application data. So by using this we are having the two different examples here. In this examples we are dealing with the first one is the Paralox. This one is a Paralox ma. So here the Paralox what you are using is a host storage application guys. It is having physical host here. The physical host are maintained here is having the storage appliances which is using the virtual memory VM virtual memory applications data here. So what it is allowing is allowing the data of these physical hosts to be stored on these shared block device. Means it is using it, the property of providing, that is the large amount of the data of the physical disk. Means we need to store the data on the physical disk. So but it is not being available because we are dealing with the huge applications. It is not available for our physical devices. So what we need to do, we need to maintain another device there. So what it is, what the virtual environment is providing, it is providing some shared space for a block of users. So here the block of users means some physical host will be taken into an account and they will be assigned with a shared data space. This shared data space will be used by these physical hosts what you are representing. How they came into an account, how they are using here is, it is taking some storage appliances at these physical machine, or which is handled by the hypervisor, and also some physical some disk space what you are using, and it will be shared at the that blocks device what you are having. How can you connect to that one, means any network block device that may be used here. How it is going to use any file or the petal or any the thing will be specified here. So for how you are going to take into an account is, so these storage device what you are having will be pushed out into this pre-host storage, and these virtual machines what you are taking will interact with these shared block device and take the privilege of accessing the data here. So there is no need to access the data from the physical host here. So what they are doing, what the virtual machines will do here is, they will take the privilege of accessing this shared space and get the data of your required one. So that the method what you are executing, the thing what you are specifying is a Paralox here, because it is a set of pre-host storage appliances which has been using the shared access to the common block devices which has been presented on the virtual disk, which is using the that is the devices what you are representing. So that's about today's class, ma. So tomorrow we will see what are the cloud operating systems which we are using for the virtualized data centers. Here we have the different examples here. In this we will see what is the cloud structures we are using. Means we have seen, we have discussed many clouds, but we didn't see any cloud representations up to now. So we are having 4 different representations here. So like this: Nimbus, Eucalyptus, Open Nebula, vSphere 4. In this we will see what the things we are representing, how the Eucalyptus will be, how it is processing, and the vSphere, how it is going, what are the trust management things we need to consider while dealing with the virtual clusters. And you'll have the multiple tenant environment also. While dealing with all these things, how we need to process, or why we need to process all these things into an account. So thank you.